Hey kids, who wants a retro handheld under $90?
So I finally have the Powkiddy X55 handheld. It took its sweet time getting here, 4 weeks to be exact. Now let's see how this runs. Historically, Powkiddy always seems to have something goofy with their devices. Will the X55 be the same? We shall see. I bought this through Powkiddy directly for around $85. I will leave an affiliate link in the description below if you are interested in this device. You can click the link and support the channel at no additional cost to you. In fact, I have a coupon code for you awesome people. Use RetroFunTech for 5% off of your order. You're welcome. So this is how the package was shipped. I'm not making this up. No wonder it took so long to get to me. Look at this ridiculousness. I'm sure it got stuck at customs for a while because they thought it was a big bag of drugs. I mean, it certainly looks super suspicious. Hey Powkiddy, how about not shipping out your handheld so it looks like we're getting a kilo of drugs in the mail, okay? Thanks. Okay, for real, here's the unboxing. In the box, we have the bare bones basic, a squishy foam piece for my cats to play with, a USB-C charging cable, no brick though, and a manual. That's it. Now, I will mention that I ordered the basic device with only a 16 gig card for the operating system. I would highly recommend that you do the same because the cards are super cheap and they are prone to failure, unfortunately. Save your money and grab a couple good SD cards from Amazon or somewhere. You don't need anything bigger than a 16 gig card for your firmware, then the second SD card for your ROMs. It supports up to a 256 gig card. I got the blue version. According to Powkiddy's website, there is a black version on the device, but it wasn't shipping until middle of last month, July 15th. Also, speaking of Amazon, that X55 is now on Amazon. That's cool. However, there is a giant markup because they are selling the device with both SD cards and loaded with ROMs. Now, if that's your thing and you don't want to monkey around with the crazy shipping time and or don't care about the price and you just want to deal with Amazon, then you have that option. Alright, let's get back to the impressions. The color is nice. I love the blue, so I'm a big fan. It's very shiny. That 5.5 inch screen looks great. The buttons are also pretty good. They have enough travel and don't seem to bottom out. The triggers are wow. Wow, are they loud. I think I just woke up my neighbors on Mars with the sound. These are micro switch triggers, unfortunately not rubber membrane connections. The D-pad feels pretty good. It's close to an Ambernick or Mew Mini D-pad if you've used one of those devices before. The thumbsticks are small, but they are Nintendo style switch sticks, not Hall sensor sticks. I would imagine that you could replace them easily with Hall sensor sticks though. The volume up and volume down and the start and select buttons are all on the face. That's cool. What is strange is that they split the button sets. You would think that the volume buttons would be together on one side, then the start and select would be on the other. Nope, Powkiddy has other crazy ideas for that. Remember how I said that there's always a couple things that are off? Also, you probably heard them already, but all four of these buttons are super clicky, just like the triggers. Oh joy! On the top, even though I just noticed that this is backwards, there is a power button, 2 USB-C ports, an HDMI port, a reset button, and a 3.5 headset jack. Nothing on the sides or the back. On the bottom are 2 speakers and the SD card slots. TF1 is for your OS smaller card, and TF2 is for your bigger game card. The X55 is running a version of Jealous firmware. It's a Linux-based operating system focused on streamlining the user experience. Jealous stands for Just Enough Linux OS. So before I show off the gameplay, I just want to make sure everyone sees this. When you get this device, I would recommend flashing whatever card you are using for your firmware with the official Jealous operating system. You will notice that there is a long boot time of over a minute when you first boot it up. You will also see this message. This is due to Powkiddy using Jealous without Jealous being okay with it. Retro Game Core talks about that in his review video. Once I flashed the official Jealous software to my SD card, the boot time decreased tremendously and the message went away. Now it works much better since it has official Jealous on there. Plus it will get actual updates, and I was actually able to update it after only having it a couple days. I will leave a link in the description below for the GitHub page where you can find the software. Use a flashing program like Balena Etcher and it will write the OS onto the card. Just follow the instructions on the GitHub page next to the file and all will be good. So here are the specs. It's running an RK3566 chip. Not crazy powerful, but it's great for all the 8-bit and 16-bit systems. It also should be able to handle N64, Dreamcast, and maybe some PSP. I will make the disclaimer though, please do not buy this device if you are looking to play those top 3 systems all of the time. I will show more in my game footage, but let's just think of them as bonus prizes. Some will work and some won't. The operating system, like I said, is Jealous, that stands for Just Enough Linux OS. It has a great community behind it and gets updates regularly. It's developed by a small community of enthusiasts. The display is a 5.5-inch IPS screen, 16:9 aspect ratio, not a touchscreen. It's not an Android, so we don't need that. The battery is a 4,000 milliamp that lasts for about 6 hours. Charging, it uses a USB-C and says that it can use a Type-C fast charging, which is sort of true. It will charge on fast chargers, but it doesn't charge fast by any means. HDMI out. It works, but the Jealous community is working on fixing that. Currently, it gets a little blurry when you're in the menu, but the gameplay actually shows up with HDMI out. There is also Wi-Fi, which comes in handy for scraping box art or downloading ports, and Bluetooth in the device. You can hook up another controller via Bluetooth, and there's a sleep function, which is super helpful. So like I mentioned before, this is a great system for all your old school 8-bit and 16-bit systems. I didn't have any trouble playing any of those. The D-pad for Contra actually feels pretty good. I didn't have any issues. Now just a note, to exit a game, press start and select at the same time, and then start once more. It will take you back to the previous menu. Now before we get into the higher systems, I will pause and show you a little trick. You can change the mode in settings to performance mode. It's called the CPU governor. I would recommend doing that for the rest of the systems. From the games list, highlight the game, then press X, and it will bring up a menu where you can change a few things like bilinear filtering, the emulation core, and the CPU governor down at the bottom. To exit a game on the higher end systems or ports, press all at once, start, select, and L1. Didn't want to cooperate. It's split screen and not supposed to be that way. It barely ran and was a pixelated mess without performance mode turned on. I had to tinker a little with PSP. From the main menu, you can access PPSSPP in the tools section. There I tweaked some settings because right out of the box, PSP was barely working for me. Even this game was slowing down and completely unplayable. I could only get 2D games to work. I turned auto frame skip on and have it set at 1x resolution. Unfortunately, OpenGL is the only core listed. I wish I could try Vulkan on here to see if it would work any better, but that's not an option. But hey, with some tinkering, you can get PSP to run okay. I would not recommend getting this device solely to play PSP or some of the higher systems. You will likely be disappointed. Think of them as bonus systems. If you get them to work on a $90 handheld, then high five to you. Now, one cool thing about Jealous is that there is a port section. There are quite a few games like Classic Doom or Quake that you can run on here, or like I have here, the Celeste port, which I'm terrible at, so don't make fun of me. Now, for most of the ports, you will have to provide some game files from a purchased copy of the game, but then you can do cool things like run Shovel Knight on your X55. Speaking of cool things, I saved this for last because it's fantastic. Moonlight streaming works on the X55. Here is Hades that I am streaming from my PC on Steam. I think it looks pretty good on this device. I didn't even notice any lag. Of course, that'll depend on your Wi-Fi connection. I think this device just gained some points with me for this feature. Alright, let's start wrapping it up with the pros and cons. So the price is amazing, really. You get a horizontal form factor gaming handheld that can play a ton of retro systems, and it's under $90. That's pretty awesome. Yes, you'll have to go through Powkiddy to do that, and you can bet it will take a good month to get to you, but it's worth it. The screen is a pretty decent 5.5-inch screen that looks really nice in my opinion. I was impressed while I played it. The Jealous operating system is really great. It really makes it very simple to use and makes it look and feel more like a console versus, say, an Android handheld. It's actually ergonomic. You hardly ever see this in a more budget-friendly device. Usually they have a flat back and then you have to get some 3D printed grip, but surprisingly, Powkiddy made the grips part of the device, and that's awesome. But of course, it's a Powkiddy device, so there are some issues. The buttons. Oh my god, the clicky buttons. Okay, so I hate them. I tried my hardest to get used to them, but I am just not a huge fan. Now, some of you probably think I am nuts, and you may love clicky buttons. Well, then this is definitely the handheld for you. You will get all your ASMR and oddly satisfying clicks out of your system with the X55 device. Also, I am thinking that this might just be a problem with my device, but occasionally the A button did not register input, so I have to press it again. This doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened quite a few times for me to notice it. Not any specific game or emulator. I don't think it's a model issue. I just think it might be specific to my device. But I did want to mention it in case anyone else has this issue. This is a minor thing, but the D-pad being on the bottom is weird. The D-pad itself is good. I am not complaining about that at all. I am more talking about the placement. Since this device is geared more towards retro games, I just think that the D-pad should be on the top and be on the same level as the buttons. The feel. This is also minor, but yes, it's light, but it's almost too light. It kind of feels a little hollow and cheap at times. Now, after you get used to it a bit, maybe you won't think that. It's just my thought, maybe due to testing out other devices, so I already have a preconceived notion of the weight of a handheld. So my final thoughts are that for less than $90, this is a great device. It has a wide variety of systems it can play. I love the 5.5-inch screen, and it's pretty comfy to hold. I really don't think there's much out there right now that can compare to it for the price point. I dig the console-like feeling of Jealous. Even though I'm a huge Android fan, it's so nice to have a handheld that doesn't feel like a phone. Plus, you don't have all the extra crap that comes along with Android. I actually had a really fun time testing this device, despite my hatred for the clicky buttons. I gave myself a few extra days to test this device, and in the process, I kind of got used to them. All in all, I think this is a pretty good retro handheld, especially coming from Powkiddy. But those are my thoughts, not yours. Feel free to comment below. Stay awesome, everyone, and go play some games.